real men do not need to announce themselves. They're known by their loyalty, they're known by their consistency, and the weight that they carry quietly. So today we're going to talk about the myth of masculinity and fake manhood and what it actually means to be a man. But right now we've got too many men trying to look strong instead of being strong and being steady. So we're going to talk a bit about that today. We're going to talk about what real manhood looks like and what showing up actually looks like and what false pop cultural manhood looks like. And if you stay tuned to the end of the video, you will receive a challenge. And I encourage you to listen through, and hopefully it is of some value. So stay tuned. Hello, good morning, good evening, wherever you guys are watching or listening from. Welcome to another episode of Better Men Daily. If you guys are watching on YouTube, I encourage you to like this video if you enjoy the content. It helps boost the algorithm, and if you are enjoying all of the content, please go ahead and subscribe. And if you guys are listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, welcome. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. Today, we're going to talk about manhood and masculinity and what is real manhood and fake manhood and real masculinity and fake masculinity and being a man today and being a man in a legacy. And we're going to talk about this in the video, is not about the volume of your voice, but it is about the strength of your word. And we're going to delve into that and a lot of other things today in this video. And we're going to kind of just pick apart what manhood is perceived to be on social media and in pop culture, and we're going to talk about what it really looks like when you show up as a husband and as a father. Now, obviously, today the biggest issue, and I pointed out at the beginning of the video, is this false loudness of fake masculinity. Now, today, online outrage culture thinks it knows what masculinity looks like. You know, men flexing money, anger, or alpha energy, and ranting instead of resolving, and being quick to pick fights and show off their strength and ability to kill other men. And that's all well and good, but most of the loudest men are the least secure, and real leadership doesn't scream. It stays, and it's quiet, and it's calm. And that's the real difference between fake masculinity and real masculinity in this day and age. And a lot of men feel that if they get these huge jacked bodies and they learn jiu-jitsu and all sorts of mixed martial arts, that they are a real strong man because they have the ability to kill other men at a moment's notice and they appear intimidating. But I will tell you that that is not what a strong man is. A strong man is a man who, yes, can absolutely kill at a moment's notice, and a man who may not appear intimidating. And that's the key difference, is some of the most lethal men on this planet are the ones who, yeah, they could kill you in a moment's notice if a fight broke out, but you wouldn't be able to tell because they don't walk around talking about it. They walk around carrying themselves with a certain energy that it is already understood that they are who they are, and they're confident in themselves, and they're confident in, a lot of times, their faith in God, in their role as a father and a husband. They don't feel the need to respond in a childish manner to men who are maybe calling them out or picking fights. So if we were to look at what a real man should be today based off the scriptures, based off of examples of other real and strong men in all of our lives, it would be confidence and calmness rather than boisterousness and ego. Because when the ego takes over, things get out of control. Because like I talked about in a previous episode, once your decisions start becoming emotional, they become chaotic and they become unpredictable. And that is not what a strong man looks like. And we're going to talk about another key factor that pop culture thinks has it figured out about men and manhood and strong and confident men, and that is loyalty. Meaning, a lot of men on the internet nowadays say that a strong and a true alpha male has multiple partners and doesn't lock themselves into a marriage and doesn't serve anything other than themselves and spreading their seed, so to speak. What I have found in my life and in the scriptures and in examples of other real men around me is that loyalty is real manhood, and that showing up when it's not convenient and staying when it would be easier to run and putting others before your own ego and self-serving purposes is what a true, strong, and capable man looks like. Now, obviously, this loyalty matters in a lot of areas, but specifically, it matters in your relationship with God. It matters in your marriage. It matters in fatherhood, and it matters in friendships. These are all areas that if you followed the tenets of some of the modern day pop culture ideas of what a man is, you would flee from the challenge of being a father, and you would flee from a marriage when it gets difficult, and you would end friendships if things weren't going perfect all the time. And that is not what a real man is. That's actually someone who's afraid of commitment, and that's someone who's afraid of persevering through challenges. They leave when things get difficult. You'll find a lot of times through history, whether you're thinking of politicians or martyrs of the church or strong military leaders, having loyalty to something higher, whether that's your faith or your values or your mission as a father or a husband or as a man to make this world better. That is the kind of stuff, that's the kind of fuel that makes a man unshakable. And that's the crux of what this episode is about, guys, that you know a man by what he returns to, where he's consistent in who he serves when nobody is clapping for him. What does he pursue and what does he chase after? What does he find important in this life? And if he finds the things like women and spreading his seed and just being an alpha male or having the capacity to hurt other men, if those are the things that are motivating that person, then that is not a true man. That is a child in a man's body. A true man is a man who clocks in every day, even when no one notices. A dad who puts the phone down and plays on the floor with his son, and a husband who chooses self-control instead of sarcasm. And I'm not saying that I am perfect in all of these things, but once again, this channel is all about field notes, and my field notes for today is that I have found that when I am more patient and I am more present, and when we face resistance either in my marriage or at work, I step up and rise to the occasion and say, I'm going to press through this anyways, because that's what my call to God is to suffer for Christ and to emulate him in the best way I can. And these things are all extremely important in this day and age and for this generation too, because men online will tell you that this kind of loyalty is weakness, but I would say it's grit on repeat on a daily basis. And some of the strongest men in the world have lived by this for hundreds and even maybe thousands of years. So I'm going to leave you guys with a challenge today. If you've made it this far, it's time for the challenge of this video, and it's this. Ask yourself the question of, if your people had to count on your word, would they flinch? Would they be concerned? Would they have confidence in you? If you ask yourselves these questions and the answer is yes, or they would be concerned, then it's time for some self-inventory, because at minimum that means that the people around you aren't confident in you, and you need to figure out why so that you can make them confident in you. And that's the overarching theme of this day and age, and that's the overarching theme of this video, is that loudness fades and loyalty lasts, and real men don't need hype, they need habits. They don't need to worry about building their legacy on having as many kids with as many women as possible and building their legacy on being in great shape, because guess what? Those things fade too. But a legacy that's built on loyalty and being there for your people is one that lasts a lifetime and even beyond that. So that's going to wrap it up for this video, guys. If you liked it, please click like if you are on YouTube. It helps boost me in the algorithm, and subscribe as well if you are getting a lot out of this content. And if you guys are listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, thank you for tuning in as always. That's going to be it for this video, guys. Leave a comment below if you guys feel that this was helpful. If you have anything to add to what I said about modern day masculinity, please feel free to share it, as this is a community that I'm trying to make sure that we all get better together. So that's going to be it for this video, guys, or this episode, depending on if you're watching or listening. I appreciate you tuning in as always, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.